All right, well, I'm with the LocationScore Lads here, and we want to talk all things days on market. So the obvious question is, what is it and how do you measure it, Ben?
Yeah, so what we're trying to measure is the time that the property appears on one of the search engines or multiple search engines. So it's listed, we get to see it's a new product for sale, and then we basically see how long it remains uploaded for sale. And then obviously when it disappears, we trap that for that single property, and we're doing that obviously for potentially hundreds of thousands of properties across Australia.
Yeah, and it's really important too, because you want to, something that stays on the market really long, which would suggest that there might be, at face value in isolation, there might be a bit stale. Whereas if it's a really short days on market, it could be a sign that it's a seller's market. But that's a really good sign that the demand is exceeding the supply.
Yeah, I mean, you picture a market where demand clearly exceeds supply, and everyone's seen this. Like, you turn up to an auction and there's dozens of bidders scrambling over each other trying to get this particular property. And you can see that a property like that is going to sell very quickly. And so there's this correlation between a low days on market and high demand versus supply for the market. So it's a great indicator.
And it's one of those ones investors can quite easily draw upon, because if they're seeing that in the marketplace compared to some of the other indicators, short days on market, they can see it quite quickly. If it stays on longer, it's one that they can intuitively get a handle on really quickly.
Yeah.
But it's really hard, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, if you're trying to do it yourself, you've just got, all right, I'm going to watch these 17 properties and see when they come off and go, and like 17 properties isn't going to be enough to work it out, because ultimately what you're looking for is a trend where the days on market are coming in, because that's one of the variables. It's not the only variable, it's one of the variables that is just basically saying, oh, this is interesting, and then you're trying to score that, aren't you? So what's a reliable measure for days on market and a good score, Jeremy?
Well, a good score for days on market, I mean, it varies tremendously based on the market.
Yep.
But typically in Australia, we're looking now at around about 4 or 5 months. But of course, people who are from Sydney and Melbourne would be well aware that things can get snapped up in days. So it varies tremendously on the market, and that's why it's such a good indicator, because it can isolate those markets that you should be investing in. I would suggest that anything above about 3 months is an alarm bell, and anything less than a month is exceptional.
Now, but just be mindful, everyone, don't just try and use that as your only indicator. The science behind the DSR engine and location score is really about basically looking in totality, not in just one particular variable, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you need to get the context too, don't you? Because if someone's actually incorrectly measuring just an individual property, but they're not getting the context of the overall suburb, that's a danger too. Because if you've got a dud property, or everything's a weatherboard in the suburb, and you're looking at a brick, and so no one's expecting the brick, the days on market will look different to the context of the suburb. So it's important to sort of think granular and also a bit more big picture.
Yeah, that's right. We try and grab as much data for as many properties in that market as possible over a significant period of time to come up with a reliable figure. There are things that affect the reliability, things like you could have a tardy real estate agent just leaving the property still on the advertising website for a few more days, maybe even a week after the proproperty has gone under
promotion. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Here's
Look
what
at
we
me,
sold.
I've sold it. Yeah.
And on the other side, you could have off-market sales where you don't even see the property.
Yeah.
So that could affect the calculation. So it's something you can't look at in isolation, can't rely on 100%, but is, when you've got it right, an excellent indicator.
It is a terrific demand and supply indicator.
So there you go, folks. That's unpacking the days on market.